Oil leaks can be very annoying to deal with, but they can also cause some serious damage. The owner of this vehicle came to me not too long ago telling me that his check engine light turned on, so I said no problem, I'll scan it and see what it has to say. Well, I'll keep it simple for you. The codes that I got were for a VCM, or Variable Cylinder Management System issue, and a VVT issue, or Variable Valve Timing issue. Now that to me tells me that these don't just happen out of the blue, but rather something is causing these to malfunction. Both of those operate based on oil pressure, and that's the key right there, so I immediately checked the oil level. When I looked at it at first, it wasn't even on the dipstick. It didn't read anything at all. Now it's topped off because I put oil in it, but it had just barely enough to survive. Now I know that these engines burn oil, but it doesn't burn that much or it would be pouring blue smoke out the tailpipe, so there must be a leak. I looked a little closer and sure enough, there's a leak. All right, so when you have an oil leak, what you'll notice is either drips or a puddle on the ground, or it's gonna get on your exhaust and it's gonna smell horrible because it's gonna smell like burning oil, really. So in this case, neither of those two were an issue. What we did have though is a third potential symptom, which is that check engine light. And if you interpret the codes correctly from that check engine light, it'll lead you in the direction of, hey, there's no oil left in the engine. So there's clearly something to be addressed. After some investigating, I found the leak to be coming from the VVT solenoid, so I went over to oneauto.com, got myself a new one to replace it with. Comes with a gasket and even the hardware that you need. So let's get to fixing, and I'll share with you some tips and tricks along the way. All right, so I'm gonna show you this repair with no cuts, but I will speed things up so that you don't have to sit there forever. But this just shows how easy it can be to fix a part like this and replace it and get rid of your leak. So the first thing I'll do is clean, and you'll notice this being a theme throughout the whole repair: cleanliness. I like to clean around the area that I'm opening up on an engine so that when I do open it, stuff doesn't fall in the engine. So I'm gonna take some brake parts cleaner. I have a collection pan underneath to catch all this fluid, and I'm going to rinse around where I'm removing the VVT solenoid to get rid of all the old oil, sand, dirt, debris, whatever's left on there. Okay, so now I'm confident that when I take this apart, no debris will fall in here. As an extra measure of safety, I'm gonna take some compressed air and blow the area. So in my case, to get this apart, I have to remove this wiring harness that basically just unclips. Of course, unplug the two connectors first, remove a bracket that holds the wiring harness because it actually covers the VVT solenoid, and the solenoid is held on with 3 bolts. As soon as those are out, you can remove the solenoid. Okay, there it is. Some oil will leak out, so just be careful. With that set aside, remove the rest of the gasket. And then you want to clean things very well. Wipe it off with a clean rag or paper towel to make sure there's no debris around here. Soak up any oil that may have leaked down. Then put the new gasket on and the new VVT solenoid. Bolt it up, and it's very important to torque it. Very important that you torque these because the torque determines how much the gasket squishes. And if you torque it too much right from the bat, you end up with something like this, or even better, like this, where the gasket is flat. And that is how you get oil leaks. It doesn't seal up. Put back the bracket for the wiring harness itself. We'll plug in the 2 connectors, bolt everything up, and that is replaced. Now I'm finally done putting it all back together. I need to clean the area so that there's no oil left. When I took this out, some oil dripped out. So once again, I want to rinse it off, make sure everything is nice and clean. Well, repair is done, and it took me a whole 5 minutes, and that's with filming it. So it was a very easy thing to fix, no more oil leak, and hopefully not as much oil loss, because I know this engine's still gonna burn, but at least it's not gonna leak it all over the ground and all over other accessories. So in this case, it was actually very important to fix it as soon as possible because it's leaking all over the alternator. And this alternator is not gonna like it too much if it's soaked in oil. All right, so these gaskets that I just pulled out here are completely flat. They are very hard. I can't even press them with my nail. And this one especially, well, this one would look the same if it was installed. This one is completely flat. It's even with the solenoid, and that's not how it's supposed to look when it seals up. So it needs a little bit of squish to it to make that nice tight seal. This one's long gone. I mean, this engine has 230,000 miles on it, a little more than that actually. So I'm not surprised with these original gaskets. It's impressive that they lasted this long actually.